Going, this is Matt, and I want to discuss something: used car purchases in California. The 3 requirements that you should get when buying a used car in California. This is going to be private party mostly. We're not going to be talking about a used car dealership. We're just going to be talking about buying a car off Facebook. Craigslist, maybe a newspaper ad, stuff in that nature. And I'm going to give you some tools to help the process and explain to you the 3 things you need, a couple bonus points, and what to do, what to expect. So first we're going to go with the 3 things that you need when buying a California car. First is a title. This is off my motorcycle, but it's the same. Okay. So first, we like to say in the industry, clean and clear. So clean and clear would be a non-salvage car. This is where it would say salvage in this little red box. That means this title is clear, or clean, I should say. And then clear would be the lien holder. See how there's no lien holder here? No lien holder. Now the VIN should match the vehicle you're looking at. I always like to use the last 5 digits, but using the whole VIN is just as good. Okay. That's basically it for the title, clean and clear title. Now some people say, well, what if it's salvage? I'm getting a good deal on a salvage car. I do not recommend buying a salvage car in any form. And I'll tell you some horror stories after I get through the 3 and the bonuses about salvage cars and why they're not worth the risk. Because yes, buying a used car is a gamble. You are literally risking your money. So let's go to the next is registration. You want to have current registration. So basically you want to see the month of the vehicle and the year of the vehicle be current. This is your second requirement. You want to have it current registration. Meaning you could drive it home basically. That is another thing that people do wrong in the industry, is buy a car that has a whole bunch of back fees because they're getting a smoking deal. The next requirement would be a smog test. Now a lot of people get confused about smog tests. Smog test is only good for 90 days, period. So if the guy said, oh, I smogged it 6 months ago, it's worthless. It's only good for 90 days. Oh, I smogged it, it passed, but I don't have the paperwork. Well, the law states that you have to give the smog paperwork to the new buyer. This is the law. You can't sell a car in California without a smog test. It has to pass the smog test. Now, you can sell the car without a smog test if you're selling it as a non-operational car, meaning doesn't have current tags, and or a parts car. But basically, you do not want to be buying a car without the smog test, because that smoking good deal you're getting might not be such a good deal once you find out that it's a nightmare to smog, or it fails, or it needs a bunch of work. You need to have a 90-day smog cert. Now, if the guy says, hey, I don't want to do it, well, next car you go. It's not worth the risk. Remember, it's a gamble. You're gambling your money, so you want to reduce the risk as much as possible. So another thing about the title is you want the person in the title that owns it to be the person you're talking to. Title in my name. There's a lot of shady car flippers, I'd like to say, out there, and you want the person that's selling you the car have the same name, just ensure thing. I'm going to show you on my laptop some free sites that you can check out the car. My first and favorite car site to do homework with would be car complaints. Now, when you're doing research on your car, you can look at cars that you like. Let's say we're going with a Nissan. Okay, we hit Nissan. Let's say we're going to go with a popular car like the Maxima. It's got 1,342 complaints. Worst year is a 2004 model year, but let's go a little newer. Since we know the 2003, let's go with an 09. It's going to say, beware of the clunker. Electrical problems, interior problems, steering problems. Now, is this 100% accurate? No way. It's not 100% accurate, but it's definitely good to know what you're getting into. Car won't start, does not turn over. Constant battery drain. These are electrical fire. These are definitely tools. Now, if I was looking at a Nissan Maxima, I wouldn't buy it. I'd go to the next car. I'd go with a Honda Accord. The next thing that you should be looking at for free would be vehicle test history. Smog vehicle test history. So now I'm at the BAR website, California Bureau of Automotive, and I could put in a license plate. Let's put a license plate in. 8EFR 885. I'm not a robot. Submit. And it will say this car has never been tested. And then it says no referee, so it doesn't need to go to the referee. It's not star required, and it's enhanced. So that in itself is not a big deal. Okay? The next website I like to use that's free is NICB. This can check to see if the car is salvage or been reported stolen. You put the VIN into this, you say I'm not a robot, I agree to terms, and it'll tell you if the car has ever been stolen and or salvage. And this is a free website. The other one I suggest is getting a Carfax report. Now, Carfax Report, again, it's not 100% accurate, but it will tell you how many owners. It'll also tell you service history about the vehicle. And it'll tell you crucial information where you could go, hey, I want this car. It's only had one owner. It's got all these oil changes. The transmission's been serviced. The timing belt's been serviced. It's all documented. This car is gold. I'm coming on my way. Or I could say flood damage, salvage, 5 owners, wreck, failed emissions, and then you could say, hey, no thank you to the seller. And the next, bonus thing that I'm telling you is trust your gut. When you go see the car and the guy's acting funny and he doesn't want you to look at a bunch of stuff, it's your hard-earned money. You know what I mean? When you go to see a used car, you want to bring a mechanic or have a mechanic look at it. This will significantly reduce the risk of having a bad gamble on a used car. It will reduce it, I would say, 75%. Another good trick is to take it on a really long test drive. Take it on the highway. Drive it around city. That in itself will reduce. Let's say the car is prone to overheating. You drive it on the highway and it starts overheating. You're not going to know that unless you don't take it on a long drive. Maybe you take it on a long drive and you pull it back and you notice that it's leaking a bunch of fluids under the car. These are things that can help you. And if the guy complains about gas, give him $10 for gas. I'm just trying to teach you how to reduce the risk of getting a bad deal on a car. Now, long test drive, have a mechanic look, have a clean and clear title, have up-to-date registration, and have a current smog are the things that I would tell people to do. Okay, now what I consider a good used car, I consider a one owner with a stack of maintenance folder, plus a smog, plus a clean title, and all the things I said before. Now that would be like the bee's knees, the best car. You know, usually from an older person that took their car to the dealer a lot. That's what I would consider a good car. Service records, single owner, low mileage for the year, stuff like that. Basically, having a mechanic check out a car it should be automatic. People should just do it. You know, spend the $100. So let's talk about some horror stories. What I do is I smog people's cars, and people buy cars, and they don't have a smog or they don't have a title, and you know, you can see the look in their eyes that they got ripped off. You know, a lady brought a car in. She had a title, she didn't have registration, and it did not pass smog. And I was looking at the car, and it was a German car, and the check engine light was just cleared before she picked it up. She didn't do a good test drive, and I told her, hey, you know, either the battery died or someone cleared the check engine light. You need to drive it about 100 miles so it could run through all its self-tests. She came back after that 100-mile period, and she had 10 codes stored in her car's computer. It was a nightmare for this lady. She came back a week later and told me that the car needed a head gasket, you know, and I also took out the catalyst, and it had misfire codes, and it, you know, and she paid probably $5,000 for this BMW, and it needed more than that in the work to make it right. So now she's looking at a $12,000 car, you know, and that could have been all prevented if she just had the smog or a mechanic look at it. Number two crazy story, I'll tell you another story with a salvage car, with a car that said salvage. The guy bought a salvage car. He got a great deal on it. It was a Honda Accord. He didn't know how it became salvage, but he got a great deal. He didn't care. I was looking at the car, and none of the whole front of the car didn't line up. You know, the hood didn't line up, the body panels didn't line up. I looked under the car. The unibody was crunched. I mean, it was in really, really bad despair. And I saw him a few months later, and he's gone through 3 sets of tires up front, you know, because he's tried to take it to an alignment shop, and the alignment shop says the cars can't be truly aligned. It's been that much, and that's not even, I mean, who knows if the airbags work. I mean, you know, he's risking his life driving that thing, you know what I mean? So that's not a good deal, you know, like $2,000 off is not a good deal when you're driving around in a death machine, you know. So that's just, you need to have a mechanic check out the car. It's worth the $100 or whatever the mechanic charges to tell you that, hey, it's no good, or hey, it's good but it needs a few things. All right, so I'm gonna end it there, and good luck on your new car purchase.